My name is Lonnie Grant. This is my life and my story.
Well, today we have the talented Lonnie Grant with us today. Speak about her story. I must say I'm a fan of your work. You know, I've seen you, and I'm a fan. So we're gonna, for what I know, you're an actress, author, speaker, mentor, and coach, and definitely a woman of God.
Yes.
Okay, and we're gonna get into some of your talents and see how they got you where you are now. But as we all know, this is my life, my story, and we know that if you're on with us, it's some trauma that you have to deal with and endure in your life to get you where you are. So we're gonna start with a little bit of your past and go from there. So where are you from?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Yes, Chocolate City.
Everybody knows it's rough in D.C.
Yeah, it is.
So, in the beginning, as a baby, it was rough for you from the beginning. Let's speak about that for a moment.
Yeah. So, it's interesting when you get pregnant. You think about all the health that you need to make sure that, you're good, right? To have this healthy baby, make sure you go to your prenatal visits and all of that. Unfortunately, that was not my story. My story was my mom was an addict. She was an addict to heroin. So that in that era, that was a big thing in DC, very, very young. So needless to say, her using while she's pregnant, what happens is in the womb, the baby get addicted to it. So I came out very sickly, had to be in the hospital for weeks, where she ended up leaving. So when most parents, they're there with their child. They're there with them. Unfortunately, that wasn't my story because my mother chose to leave. Anybody know about addictions, you got to get back to it. You're going to be feeling some type of way. So after, she gave birth, she I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And she went back to the streets and I was left in the hospital.
So, and I had the opportunity to read your book, and we're going to speak about that a little bit later. You didn't have the typical family structure growing up, is that correct?
Yep, I didn't. So because I was left in the hospital and, she was dating somebody at the time, put their family information down, and that's who ended up raising me, that family of the guy that she was dealing with at the time. So it wasn't that typical, loving, wholesome family structure. I was an outcast. First of all, I wasn't they're biologically blood related to them. So I grew up with my grandmother, but it was interesting because it was a house where you knew you wasn't going to go hungry. That was, anybody know when it comes to, a lot of the black families, the grandmother, they cook.
Oh, yeah.
They cooks. So, but with that, it's still trauma that's happening in it because they have their own old school ways of what they believe in, and what happens in my house stays in my house, that concept. So that was the environment I grew up in, where what was happening, didn't matter if it was good, bad, you didn't speak about it. So the dynamic in that was a lot of siblings, cousins, about 9, 10 of us up in that house. But we made it work.
Yeah. Was there any of your siblings?
So my brother he's 1 year, about 12 months. Yeah, we about 12 months apart. Okay. So he ended up, being taken care of in that house. He's the only blood related.
Yes.
Everybody else was not.
So right from the beginning, it's rough.
Out the gate, out the womb, out the womb.
Okay, but you did, as a young child, it was some things that you did enjoy.
Oh yeah, oh
Some things
yeah.
that you did enjoy, some things that were good in your childhood.
So my grandmother loved to play bingo. That was her thing. So I always got a chance to go, you know. So that was an outlet for me, going to the bingo hall and playing bingo and watching the old people shout bingo and get their little money. But what I really, really found, you know, my comfort was at the recreation center. So mostly everybody got that rec center, the Boys and Girls Club, and at the Boys and Girls Club we played all types of sports, but I found my true calling to dance.
Okay.
So I did cheerleading, dance, drama. So that's where I felt comfortable going through the movement, the choreography. I was able to release. So I found that to be my therapy away from being in a household that was full of chaos.
Okay. So it was something that was you can enjoy.
It wasn't the Alvin Ailey dance school. It wasn't the performing arts school. But it was people at the rec center who cared and who poured back into the community, who was there. You know, they ain't had that background, but they kept us in line.
Okay, great. Now, I know you said your grandmother, were there other adults around that helped your grandmother at least a little bit?
Oh yeah, so I had an uncle, my aunt, and then my mother's sister, my other aunt, who used to come and get us sometimes on the weekends. But yeah, a few of my uncles used to help out, take my grandmother to the grocery store, stuff like that.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the relationship with you and your uncle.
So my uncle was a hardcore. He was very structured, very militant demeanor. He's just no nonsense. And because his approach was so strong on us being so little, it was emotional damage. Because the way he would talk to us or the things that he would have us to do, and it's like, it's too much for a kid. Do I supposed to be wiping walls and, you know, like this and like demanding, and especially for kids who were born of addicts. So there's a lot of delays. I grew up with a lot of delays, having to have special services for education. So not taking any of that into consideration, knowing that most of the kids in the house had delays, that you would, you know, have some empathy and say, okay, I know that their learning is slower because of this. It didn't matter to him. He just like, no, I said do this and you gonna do it, or we'll just get slopped across the floor. So it was a lot of physical abuse.
And that could have affected you more emotionally, added on living there and that type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Did you spend any time with any other family members?
My other uncle, he used to babysit us. So he had sons, and we would go over their house when my grandmother would go play bingo, or my other aunt, my mother's sister, who would come get us on the weekends, try to, you know, get us, because we didn't really spend time with my mother's side of the family, me and my brother.
Okay.
So she would try to do her part, you know.
Okay. Because you said your grandmother, she liked to go play bingo sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Love to play bingo.
I think all our grandmothers.
Oh yeah, even that a gambling.
Yeah. So either you would go to your uncle's house or maybe your aunt's house. Did you experience anything during that time? Or?
So yeah, you know, I didn't like going over to people's houses because I felt comfortable in my own. I felt like I knew what was going to happen in my house. When I got to their house, I didn't know what was going to happen. So unfortunately, an incident did happen where I was I was molested. And again, it was unfortunate. It was a family member. And it's like, I can't believe this happened. I was so young. And it's so many emotions that goes through your body trying to figure out what just happened. How do you tell? Do you tell?
Yes, exactly.
You know?
And this is at a very young age.
Very young. I think I was about 6 or 7.
Did with that being said, did you tell anyone?
I told one person.
Okay.
Yeah, told one person. Didn't go over like I thought, you know. And that's the thing, you know, you don't know if you did the right thing, you know.
And I'm sure plenty of victims feel that way.
Yeah.
And some of them don't say anything because they may not turn out how they think.
How they think is going, so it end up being worse.
Exactly.
So you call more emotion to yourself because it's like I said something and now it's almost like it was my fault. And they make it feel like it's your fault, and it's like, hold on, this happened to me.
Exactly. So at this moment in your life, I mean, you're 6 or 7 years old. This happens to you emotionally, because to be honest, it's other emotions going on with your living situation, your mother. How were you mentally at this? I mean, it got to be rough. Like
it was rough because, you know, you look at other people's life and you feel like my life isn't, you know, how is it that you can go to school, you can get good grades over here? I would look at my other family members who went to private school and I felt like they had it good. And I'm like, it's even more tormenting because you just want to be normal. You know, I think about even the school. You know, I think about school where I just wanted to learn so much better. My reading was off. A lot of things was off because of the delays. Like, people don't realize the drugs, how it affects your kids when you are using. They don't take in consideration. So what happens is when you have this kid coming out the womb and now they start school, and now I'm 9 reading at a 2nd grade level. Yeah. Me and my brother. Some of my other siblings, because my grandmother took care of most of us whose parents was out there on drugs. So again, a lot of special services. So you already emotional from the time you get up to go to school. Because you like, I want to be in the regular classes. I want to read on this level, but it ain't your fault. You know, so that comes with just so much. And then going back home to a household that's treating you bad, again, faulting you for something your mother brung you into.
That's deep. Speaking of your mom, I can imagine you feeling some type of way when you see other kids with their mom and you're in the situation that you're in. How did that make you feel?
Oh my goodness, terrible. Because I remember when I would see my mom and when she would come visit, she was high. She was bringing another man. You know, this so-and-so, you know, this ain't the person from 2 weeks ago. Is that, you know? So it's like, you see the other kids in the neighborhood, even though it's the projects, they got their parents, some of them. And it's like, okay, how do you do this to a child, to any of your children, where you just leave them and you just for the streets, not wondering, are you eating? Are you good? Are you safe? You just know that they in the house, but you just think, oh, they good. So it does affect you, you know, it does affect me. It did affect me, and I'm like, here you supposed to have a woman who teach you about life lessons as a female, and you ain't get them. You ain't get them.
So now with this, you're growing up at this young age. Did anyone, and I know what you said earlier about, in a lot of our households in the African American communities, what's in the house stays in the house. Did anyone try to help you with any type of healing or anything?
No, not when it comes to healing. I thank God for, again, the rec center and then some of the teachers who used to stay after, who used to give me extra tutoring, you know, who allowed me to stay in their room just extra, just to lay down, you know. So that was the only help, but other than like professional help, that wasn't even a idea. They didn't even think of that. Like, oh, okay, you know we brought these kids into this household that had all of these things. We gonna seek counseling or therapy. That was not even in the books at all. Healing, we didn't even know what that word was. That wasn't even talked about back in the day.
You're right.
It was considered crazy if you heard therapy.
Now, at this point, you're growing up. You're starting to have a family of your own. At one point, did you think about becoming an actress? Because I know, me personally, I've seen you in some skits, some with a comedian that I love, Country Wayne. I saw you in other shows, Ruthless, and man, it's good seeing you on that screen. But what point did you think about becoming an actress?
So actually, the seed was planted when I was younger in school. They had drama. So the seed was planted there. However, it didn't bloom until 3 years ago.
Okay.
So the seed was planted. I used to do the school plays, but due to the cost of it, I couldn't stay with it. So, you know, God fast forward me here where I transitioned from DC to Atlanta to pursue acting.
Okay, great. Now tell us some other things that you're involved in, because I know even more than acting, there's other things that you're involved in with mentoring and coaching. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so actually that dance, that rec center, we're going to take it back to the foundation.
Okay.
So dance was always in me, right? I just didn't know what capacity God was going to bring me into it. I danced, I did praise dancing, liturgical, I've done jazz, ballet. So my gift is education. I love teaching. So I am a contortion and acrobatic teacher. So I train competition dancers. I mentor them to go to the next level and just pursue their dreams. The things that I did not have in dance, I'm able to now give it to them.
Okay. Now, some people may not know the word contortion.
Yes.
And I know it has something to do with how they can move their body.
Yes.
Man, how did you get into that? Because that's
Man, God is just so amazing, because everything that He pushes me into, it's always, He blows my mind. Because it's like, how did I get into contortion? Yeah. I don't have a background in that. I told you I came from the projects. Yeah. So He pushed me into that. I started doing a lot of flexibility stuff. A lot of people know me from being flexible. I got into it. I started training and ended up getting my certification. And then I just became so good at it. So now I'm one of the household names in the industry for flexibility and tumbling. So acrobatics is basically tumbling. So those of you like, what is acrobatics? It's tumbling. It's just like sort of like gymnastics, but it's a tumbling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with your acting, because you play several different parts I've seen you in myself, do you think that your trauma, going through that, healing and dance and all of that, you think that plays a part into you being able to play those roles?
Oh yeah, especially I'm a no nonsense. I told you my uncle was a no nonsense, that militant, so I kind of picked up a lot of that. And oh no, but I will say I didn't know I had became it.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes the very thing we hate in people, because we didn't heal it, we become it. So that's what was happening, where my attitude was just real short. just always. And I feel like when I first got into acting, I would have coaches that say, Lonnie, bring it back in, bring it back in. Okay, why you attacking it so much? Trauma, because trauma, you're still healing. So I'll notice on certain roles that trauma will come back up, attack it. They say drama, attack it. And it's like, every drama role is not an attack. It's not meant for you to be mean. Sometimes a drama can be just facials. You know, so with this acting, it's really helping me to continue my healing. And knowing that every opportunity that I get to be in front of that camera, I'm not rah, 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 rah. Just chill out.
So let's say you meet a young lady, you know, you teach them, you mentor them, you coach them. You meet a young lady, and she says she's been a victim of sexual assault, and she doesn't know what to do. You know, she's coming to you with advice. What would you say to her?
The first thing is acknowledge what happened, the feelings that you may be experiencing, and it's not your fault, and forgiveness. A lot of times we don't move forward in our healing because we're so stuck, but we don't realize we stuck. A lot of times forgiveness for most assault victims is just move on. Forget about it. And that's not forgiveness because you're still harboring it. Just because you don't see the person doesn't mean you forgave them. Because now if you see them and they walk in a room, everything triggers back up. So you got to really, really dig deep and ask God for true forgiveness. And what does true forgiveness look like for you? Because what my forgiveness and what I had to go through to release the people who've done stuff to me will look different for you. So that would be my advice is that forgiveness. So now you can really start to activate on your healing journey.
Gotcha. Wow. Now let's get into you and your book. And let me see. You have the book with you, right? Okay. Bring it up. What's the name of it?
Beauty After Broken, The Girl in the Mirror.
Girl in the Mirror. I love it. Of course, we're going to put a link to where people can order your book. Mm-hmm. I've had the opportunity to read the book. I loved it. And I even learned some things myself from it. And I know if people get it, even young girls, they will definitely learn something from it. And man, we appreciate you even writing that.
Yeah.
And, but let's speak about some of your upcoming endeavors you have.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of stuff right now.
A lot of stuff, you guys. A lot of stuff. I want to turn my book, some pieces of the book, into skits.
Okay.
So people, you know, can get healed. Right now there's so much happening in the world with mental health. We're seeing a lot of drama, a lot of violence, but where is the self-care? Where is how to start the journey to healing? Because some people don't even know where to start. So I want to bring some skits that's going to help the community, help us as a Black community feel comfortable with therapy, feel comfortable to say, I need help and I'm not okay, and being okay in saying it. So I want to do some of that. I have some of the skits already written out that I want to shoot. You guys, I'm Sugar Mama Glenda. That's my AKA. So I got some of that going on with other new comedians.
And for those who don't know, you did play on Country Wayne skits. You played Miss Glenda.
Glenn.
With Philip, and which was one of the best skits, man. I saw I really enjoyed it, and I reached out to you from there. I was impressed with it, and that's how we got a chance to meet.
Yes.
But oh man, that was great. And so now you're doing more skits on your own.
Yeah.
And, you're still Sugar Mama.
Yep. Still Sugar Mama. Sugar babies, because you know that's what people know me from, you know, and I'm a person that God gave me the opportunity to be on that platform, learn from the other talent who's been doing this for years. And when my storyline ended, God said, but I ain't tell you to end it.
Exactly.
So the storyline ended on that platform. That doesn't mean you stop. I told you I'll put you in a room.
Exactly.
And now it's time for you to take off. So that's what I'm doing.
And that's not, I mean, you've done other things, like I say.
Oh yeah, Ruthless. Oh my goodness. The Resident, which is a medical show. The Covenant. It's so many. I'm on Kingdom Business season 2. That's about to air. Tyler Perry just have a new movie that's coming out this year, 6888.
Okay.
That's coming out. Oh, that's going to be a powerful movie. I've done a lot of short films. I just shot a short film. Actually, I'm playing the mama in this short film. So it's been interesting, the journey, working. 2 years, you guys, 2 years. Wow. 2 years I've accomplished over 102 now, different shows that I've been on.
Wow.
In 2 years.
So let's talk about where people can find you on social media, because we want to try to send everyone from our platform to your platform.
Yes.
So they can, get involved with your book, get involved with your skits. Where can they find you?
So if you are on Instagram, it is Miss Lonnie Grant. If you on TikTok, actress Lonnie G. What's the YouTube? Actress Lonnie Grant.
Okay.
And Facebook Lonnie Grant.
Lonnie Grant, okay.
Yeah.
And we'll put something on, with your social media. And for one, people and children, they go through things every day. And we want to thank you for this being in your spirit to try to help people heal. That's one of our goals.
Yeah.
And that's why we had the opportunity to talk and do this. But I just want to say personally, thank you for what you're doing. Sorry that you went through that trauma. But I'm glad that now that you're working, you're doing everything you want to do.
Yeah.
You're helping people, you're healing young girls, talking to young girls, coaching young girls.
Yes.
And so me personally, I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for coming in and telling your story.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right.